And that is it. Uhuru Farm Spectre raided in Demo Twist. Let's get into details now. Mheshimiwa, 2 people shot in your county. You're the senator. Have you had anything from the ground so far?
Yes. I think this was in Rongo, where, you know, a few people were arrested and upon demand by protesters to them for the release, these guys were shot. And it's very unfortunate because, as I said, these are peaceful demonstrations. And actually, yesterday was a vindication that actually as protesters are very peaceful. If you look at Migori, apart from Rongo, there was serious maandamano in Uriri that was peaceful. The entire Uriri was very peaceful. The entire Awendo was very peaceful. The entire Migori town was very peaceful. You know, you could see demonstrators congregating and just expressing themselves on high cost of living and some of the grievances that we have been able to put forward. And we want to say that, you know, this use of police, we have seen it before. This unwarranted force and excessive force used by police and of course with the command by state is something that we need to address because and we need to take individual responsibilities. Like as a senator of Migori, I'm going to take action. I'm going to call for action for the police officers who shot actually these 2 individuals, including compensation for their, because I know they have been struggling with medical bills in the night, and I'm responding to it. But this police officer must now start taking individual responsibility to ensure that when demonstrations are held. Yesterday, my friend, we were just leaving Kibera, and then upon reaching, you know the junction at Langata Road and the Langata Cemetery, as we're just taking, as Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga's convoy was just taking a turn, and we were in it. The police there just started, throwing tear gas inside our vehicles. We were not demonstrating at that point. We had finished our demonstration. We were retiring, and you can see how the police sometimes, under the command of people like Kome, then just start to met serious violence on Kenyans who are just expressing themselves under Article 37. So this must stop, and we will take particular action against these individuals.
Very well. The 3-point agenda for Azimio, what are the nitty-gritties and what are the deliverables in them? Cost of living, electoral justice, and finally you talked about Azimio, the cost of living, electoral justice, and the last one?
The opening of the servers.
Of the servers.
Yeah, but electoral justice is what makes the 4th agenda very close is the fact that independent institutions like IBC have been interfered with to the extent that we want the 4 commissioners who are vilified by the state reinstated.
Okay.
Yes.
The cost of living, what is in that? The bullet form of the cost of living. What are your demands as Azimio?
You know, currently, and by the way, you know, Victor, I'm sitting in Finance and Budget Committee, so sometimes I've got authority to talk about these things in a very specific way.
Go ahead.
So what is going on currently is that there are some major subsidies that the government has been able to remove, and then there's some biases that the government has also been able to put. So for instance, if the government tells you today that they are subsidizing fertilizer, which again wasn't true, because we know that the fertilizer was given for free from Russia, and then they lied to Kenyans that this is fertilizer that was brought on a market basis. If you choose today to give subsidies to fertilizer, and then you are assuming that every other person in Kenya, all they do is growing crops, then you are wrong. Because somewhere like Nyanza, where this, and then you claim that you're only subsidizing production, and you only choose to subsidize where there is economic gain for people in government, where you can do some deals and then gain by yourself and not other people. So today, if you argue that only fertilizer should be subsidized, people in Nyanza for instance, are people who are spending their time in the lake and they are using fuel, which you have skyrocketed, you have removed subsidies on fuel. That is what they use to fish. People in boda who are in the service industry that forms a big part of our production economy. In fact, NTSA has indicated that people in boda are about 1.5 million. All of these people, 97% of them are getting their bodas or the motorbikes by being financed by people like Watu Credit and others, and therefore it's trainers. But then they're also participating in the production economy. People in the north, that right now you can see even the North Rift is suffering. Those people are pastoralists, and people eat meat in this country. Yes. People eat goat meat. People eat ngamia meat. People eat cow meat. All these people are in production, and then you don't subsidize them, and you just focus on areas where you want to make money. And then up and above that, you are running a very high, a very expensive government. So, for instance, why would you tell me as a taxpayer today, Victor, that I pay my taxes to pay a billionaire like Kidero in cars, and up and above that, you are having even more cars than we should have as a country? So the complexities of what we are seeing in terms of what I would call physical spending that are unnecessary, that are straining the taxpayers. You tax people more, you get more money from them, and then you make it harder for them to be able to succeed economically, is something that we
Others
we
argue
must
that
stop.
the cost of living did not start with the current regime. It started way back in the past with the past regime.
No, but they are facts. We can actually go to the basic cost of commodities. During Uhuru's regime, the only thing that skyrocketed was the cost of energy, which actually was because of the act was an action by Parliament, and actually our Parliament has apologized over that. It was not this crazy high cost of living. We can look at the cost of unga when Uhuru was in power versus the cost of unga when Ruto took power and removed the subsidies. We can look at the cost of paraffin. The cost of paraffin skyrocketed when Ruto took power and removed the subsidies. So it is not necessarily true. But what is actually true is that this government has come in with very draconian policies that were not even part of what they promised Kenyans, because there are very clear promises that this government made. Actually, one of the reasons why this thing has become a national protest. It's not actually not only Azimio protesters. And statistically, if you look at what Ipsos said that this government has got a disapproval rate of 62%. That 62% of Kenyans are disapproving of this regime. If you do statistical analysis from what the numbers that IBC declared, even if you come to the numbers that Azimio has claimed of the result of the election, the numbers that IBC declared themselves, if you look with what Ipsos says, it means that out of 10 people that voted for Ruto, 6 people have left him and are on the street protesting because of this high cost of living. What about, based on the promises? What about electoral justice that Azimio is rooting for? The electoral justice, my friend, is we had a very clear laws on how we are going to constitute the IBC, because you cannot be a Manchester player. You're going to play with Arsenal, and then you are the one who select the referee, and up and above that, you give the referee terms and conditions. So what do you want? Right, as and as Azimio right now, yes, the reconstitution of IBC the way it is going right now is wrong. And as Azimio, we are not requesting, actually, we are demanding that this process be stopped and all the players come on the table to figure out how we can be able to come up with a fair and a very verifiable process of getting the referee who is going to referee elections in this country. And what is the recommendation from Azimio? What are you recommending? No, that monolistic kind of approach is what is affecting us, because now the country is stuck whereby everything that the regime has decided is what is going on, and you know very well that the review of the laws that we had, which was the best actually, yes, the review of the laws that we had in terms of constitution of IBC was reviewed by Ruto by buying parliamentarians, this one is obvious. It was seen in the country when after the election, the first thing that Ruto did before sworn in was to buy 12 MPs from the opposition side, and then ramped it up after taking power by buying even more MPs and giving them goodies in State House. People are given money, people are given tokens, people are promised development. Then when they go to Parliament, they start changing our laws to the extent that there is a monopolistic kind of approach to what the regime is proposing now. So what Azimio is asking is, we are not dictatorial like the regime is dictatorial. Let's come on the table and be able to discuss what would be best for Kenyans if you feel as a regime that the previous system was.
And what is the formula that Azimio is rooting for? That's what I'm saying. Yes.
That this has to be a conversation between the two. It cannot be like Azimio is proposing this and the government is proposing the other. So for instance, if today you say that you're going to have two of the commissioners from two political parties, right? Which is the Azimio side. Maybe it's going to be ODM, because ODM is the predominant party in Azimio, and then UDA is the predominant party in Kenya Kwanza. And then under our constitution, chapter 2 of the constitution, that is article 4, it is said that Kenya is a multi-party democracy. That means that all the parties that we have under the constitution have got equal rights on anything that happens in this country. So what happens of over 80 parties that are in Kenya today that also want to participate? Okay. You see, that kind of formula has to be interrogated. You cannot say that today the IBC Commission is going to be to have one person from ODM and one person from UDA, and then the other parties are not even significant just because they don't have majority in Parliament now, when actually what IBC will be doing in 2022-27 is not party to these two parties, because at that time they will be conducting a new election where everybody has got an equal chance to get to Parliament. So you see why these things are problematic. Then you say you're going to the interfaith to be able to pick two people again from the interfaith community, which again you're going to subject it maybe to a Christian and a Muslim. First of all, Kenya is not an entirely state run by religion. It is a secular state. It's not a religious state. So by choosing to want to empower two religions, what do you do with other religions? Okay. Like the Baha'i faith, like the Jews in this country, like other places. So it is problematic, and it is purposefully to serve the interests of Ruto and Rigathi to be able to have an election that they will just walk over people in 2027. And that is what Azimio is saying, that if you find that the previous laws do not work for you, you do not change laws, and then you say that those are the laws we have subject ourselves to. These are very sensitive issues that people must come together and be able to deal with.
Senator, what is the server?
So,
is it even possible for it to be opened in the first place?
Yes, it is, because the Supreme Court pronounced itself on the issue of the server. Remember when we were having a Supreme Court decision on the presidential election, the Supreme Court actually did order the company that conducted these elections, Mathematic, to be able to open the server and to be able to allow for audit at that time, an audit that could be able to enable the court to be able to make decisions. What happened? Mathematics said that they don't. They basically refused that they cannot open the server because that one is against their intellectual property rights, right? And that was problematic. So then you find a Supreme Court that made decision based on not having facts that they actually wanted to seek from the company that ran our election. And that basically means that the person who took over office was in bed with these people. Because if you look at any kind of system, it's a very simple thing. When you have got an election happening at the polling station as it happened, you have got data coming from the ground, and which is basically Kim's kit, taking data from the polling stations and sending them somewhere to one place, which is called the Kim's kit, the Kim server, because all that Kim's kit data goes to a particular.
So who is the custodian of this server?
Currently, it is it was and it is still the company that conducted the election, but with the discretion of the IBC.
Is it in the country?
So that detail, perhaps IBC and the regime of the day are best placed to be able to tell Kenyans.
So
these are the things we are demanding. The reason why it is basically where all the data of the election is, in a very simple term, a layman's language. All the data of the elections are in a particular depository that is the server, and that data has not been availed to Kenyans, and Kenyans have got a right because a right to that data because it is their data. It is not the company's data. It is not IBC's data. It is the data of the companies. And in any case, the president has been quoted and by the media in a number of instances saying that the server was open before the election. The server was open during the election. The server was open during counting of the election. The server was open when the Supreme Court was doing their ruling. And then the question that behooves us to ask Mr. Ruto is that if all this time the server has been open, why is it closed now?
Okay.
Right? So just open it, and you know, this is a very simple thing. The demand here for me, as I speak on behalf of Azimio, the demand would be very simple. We must have an independent institution. We must have a credible institution that can be able to do a forensic audit of the data of the election in Kenya 2022.
Mheshimiwa, there are so many ways of killing a rat. We all know this. You can either kick it, you can either poison it, you can either set a trap, and if it's too much, you burn down the whole house. Option A, has Azimio ever approached the president with all these recommendations before Maandamano? What are we doing currently? But before Maandamano, has the president been served or approached for a talk?
We have a petition. You know this country has become a dictatorship. You know, the reason why it has become a dictatorship is because there are a number of institutions that are able to actually deal with this issue. One is, of course, the executive. The second one is our parliament, because under our laws you can actually be able to petition these two institutions where there is a problem. And when Azimio has made any attempt to go and petition, actually these demonstrations are about petitioning with these issues, right? Because we have wanted to go and petition the government, like we wanted to go and petition the president on Monday the 20th. We were met by tear gas. They started shooting at people. They started dispersing a very innocent and peaceful demonstrating crowd. So because what happens is that you can't approach the president as a private citizen. You have to approach him as a person who is currently in that regime and in that seat of power. And there are ways of doing it. And the one very innocent and allowed way is to petition.
Have you received any respondents? Now that with the petitions, have you received any respondents?
No, but we have to be allowed to give them the petition. That's why we are talking about them in journalistic conversations and on any platform that allows us to be able to air these issues. Right? We are on TV sharing. We are on a public platform sharing. Remember the supremacy of this country lies with the people. We are on barazas with the people, sharing with the people. Why? Because anytime you want to go and petition this to the president, either is dodgy, right, or he meets you with the force, like we've seen. These two demonstrations actually we wanted to go and take to in the petition, and even Raila Odinga was very clear about this, and he indicated that we will have a few people selected from Azimio to be able to go and give the president these petitions. We have since seen a parliament that is very biased, because the president has basically bought parliament and interfered with parliament to the extent that even if you have to petition parliament, it is still an appendage of the executive. So there's no need of petitioning these issues to parliament, but to the executive, so that he can be able to take action on them as the person who has got the highest responsibility in terms of donated power by the people under Article 1 of the Constitution.
Senator, if today the president said that he is ready for talks with Honorable Raila Odinga, are you ready as Azimio to listen to him?
This is not an issue between Raila Odinga and the president. Okay, that has to be very clear.
Azimio.
This is an issue that is affecting Kenyans, and therefore the petitioning that goes to the president has to go to the president, not as an individual. And therefore, it will be a conversation between Azimio and the regime as we see it, because
not
where
individuals.
we are, if it has to be individuals, it will be like the institution has been able to forward those or given the power to that individual. And Raila is never a one-man show. People get it very twisted, because he's a freedom fighter who has fought for very many freedoms in this country, and therefore is not selfish. In any case, Raila Odinga has been going through this demonstration and in this country using his personal resources, and I have personally seen it. You know, he's apart from just being a leader in our coalition, he's a friend, and sometimes I empathize with him, because I see the way he's draining his own resources, trying to make this country better. In all the Azimio places that he goes, I have seen him using his personal resources, unlike our brothers in government who actually are using public resources to be able to move about and spread lies and propaganda against one man called Raila Amolo Odinga. And therefore, don't get it twisted that this is a Raila thing and Raila wants something for himself. If he wanted something for himself, he could have. This work is tiring, my friend. Raila has been in over 16 meetings that I've seen him really sacrificing for Kenyans. Do you think Raila enjoys being in street, being tear gassed and being targeted by water cannons and targeted by bullets that we have seen around? Like, it is not a thriller for him. It is just sacrifice that he's doing for this nation, and therefore it's not there for selfish gain.
Do people understand that? If the common mwananchi, the Wanjiku, quote unquote, does Wanjiku understand what's in the basket of Azimio?
Absolutely. You know, and the answer is very simple. You can see the masses that have come out, and they continue to come out. They come out not because they are coming there to have some party. They are coming out because they understand the ideals that Raila Amolo Odinga stands for. They understand the fight that Raila Odinga is fighting for, and they understand the courage that the man has had, you know, in terms of standing for what is right. And let me tell you, you know, sometimes some people in the state, I've seen people talking. You know, we talked about what is going on here, and you know, it's not a sheer coincidence that the president leaves the country. And then the next day, the president leaves the country just in the wage of a number of leaders, both a minister and a number of governors and regional leaders, 100 of them meeting to plan a serious attack on private property. And then the pronouncements of Kimani Ichung'wah comes in place that we are going to attack private property. And then before you realize, people are organizing themselves to attack private property where there isn't. And then the worst thing is that even the president on his Twitter handle has not condemned something like this. What do we see with this? This is anarchy and this is dictatorship. The reason being, I can assure you, Victor, when the president will come back in this country, he will just condemn this thing and let it go. There will not be action against Kimani Ichung'wah for what he said, which we are going to push for. There won't be action against Moses Kuria, who actually is being paid by taxpayers' money, right, and enjoying privileges with the people is pitting against each other. There won't be action against these governors who sponsored this kind of attack. He will just condemn it and let it go. And you see, the problem with the state is that they think that they can be better than you in two things. This is what I want to tell you, Victor, today. You can't be better than me in terms of intelligence, and then be better than me in terms of stupidity.
Okay.
Where your intelligence works, my stupidity can be able to work at some time.
For how long
and they're taking the people for granted that people don't see these things.
Okay.
People are seeing them, and people are seeing how Raila Amolo Odinga is fighting for them and is fighting for the right things.
For how long are we going to experience the Mandamanos, Mondays and Thursdays?
Until the government takes the issues that we are putting on the table seriously.
What if, is Honorable Raila Odinga ready to climb off the horses and have a talk as Azimio and have the petition listened to and have a resolution and all this to end once?
Of course. That is the purpose for this. Raila Odinga does not want chaos and mayhem in this country. Raila Odinga wants a better country for us. In any case, everybody who is enjoying their position today in these serious government positions is a function of Raila Amolo Odinga. It is in public domain that Raila Amolo Odinga single-handedly fought for the devolution function in our new constitution, to the extent that even some previous high people in power, even some former presidents, were hell-bent that there's not going to be something like devolution. Today, all the governors who met at Moses Kuria's place and planned this kind of attacks on private property, all these governors are governors as a function of Raila Amolo Odinga. They fly flags in their counties. The people in their counties are enjoying serious employment, serious development projects. Over 8 billion on average goes to any county in this country, Victor.
Okay.
You know, 10 billion in some places like Kisumu, Siaya, Nairobi. We enjoy these things because of Raila Amolo Odinga.
All right.
Rigiji enjoys what we call deputy president, because deputy president is not a vice president. A vice president used to serve under the decision of the president, and therefore could be fired at will, was given some menial jobs. He enjoys that as a function of Raila Amolo Odinga.
Senator, we're almost coming to a close, but then let me ask you this question from a viewer who said that Raila Odinga perhaps is now setting the tempo for 2027. Is this a tempo that is going to run for the next 5 years?
No, Raila Odinga has been very clear. And this is how we hold this view as Azimio, that if we don't solve these issues, there is no election in 2027. Because you cannot go to an election that already is predetermined and you already know results. No one in Azimio is willing to go to an election next in 2027 without sorting these issues. There will be no election. There will be selection in this country, because this is something we have seen in the Moi regime, and that's why we're telling you we are going to the dark days of Moi. During Moi's regime, MPs used to line in State House and they were being given goodies, development, promise, a number of things. I saw it even in Migori when Ruto went to Migori and he was in Uriri, and he was saying things that are completely not true. I'm going to make for you a road from Stella to Gogo, when we know very well that the contractor that is on the road between Isibania and Ahero has got mandate to be able to make all those roads, and already budgeted for. Gogo Falls that he was talking about has already been budgeted. In fact, Uhuru budgeted for the 3 billion before he left. They even came and did a scan of how Gogo should be improved. Why is this important? Because he is buying MPs by giving them ad cash, and number two, by giving them development promises. And then what's going to happen in 2027 is going to have administrations pointing to you that this is going to be your MP, and tell IBC this is the person we need in this place. So it's not about 2027 for Raila, and it's not about 2027 for Azimio people. This issue is an issue that must be solved now. Without which, there is no country, because the country is formed on the basis, in our constitution, at least our country, is formed on the basis of sovereign power. And that sovereign power is vested in the people of Kenya, and the Constitution under Article 1, Sub-Article 3, says that they can exercise that power directly or through their representative who are elected by them. So if you don't give people a chance to be able to elect their representatives in a way that they are confident in, then there's no country, there's Senator, no leadership, there's no governance.
We're running out of time. We ran out of time. Thank you so much. We needed to have the straight tidbits of what's in the Azimio basket, and promise me that you'll be back here next time.
Always, anytime, Victor.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Senator Oketch of Migori County. He is Azimio member, as a close confidant of Raila Odinga, giving us what's in the Azimio contest. But what is important is that moving forward, let's have a peaceful nation. You know, attacks on personal property shouldn't be there in the demonstrations. Thank you so much. All right, let's take a break. And we come back, we are crossing over to Radio Taifa. We have got Wakili George Kithi, who is advocate of the High Court and former Mandera senator. That is coming up shortly with Dora Manya. They'll be talking matters, politics, and so much more. Stay with us. We'll be right back with that. Good morning.